Well, tonight, our coverage of the acquittal of Rick Chow continues. One of the biggest questions circulating on social media today after the decision was reached is around Mr. Chow's background and why his past actions with customers was not brought into the courtroom. This is what defense attorney John Mobley had to say about this specific area of the trial. He gave us his opinion when he sat down with our Whitney Sullivan.
Rules of evidence, I can guarantee you the prosecutors would have wanted to get that in, and I can guarantee you the defense obviously argued against it under the rules of evidence. Under the rules of evidence, there's something called prior bad acts, and ultimately, under the rules, there are limitations on the admissibility of prior bad acts. The reason behind that rule is you don't want a juror or jury convicting somebody based on things they've done in the past as opposed to the evidence in the case. Because what will happen is people think, well, he's done this kind of stuff before, or he's a bad person, or he is that type of person. He would do something like this and make a conviction based on his character or based on his past conduct. And that's what that rule is designed to prevent. Again, I think if you look at the Murdaugh case, which you talked about, there's no doubt in my mind a big factor in that case was the evidence of the financial crimes. Yeah, because without that, case a little more questionable. But when people think that you're a cockroach or you're a criminal or you're a horrible person, they're more inclined to convict you based on that as opposed to the evidence.
Okay, I want to dig into that a little bit more.
Do it.
This is just the personal question I have. In a case like this has got to be extremely frustrating for the prosecution because for me, I'm hearing about this. I dug more into those two incidents, and I'm like, how does that not apply? Why can that not be brought up? Because I feel like it is so relevant, just like the financial crimes for Murdaugh, it's so relevant in establishing the character or pattern of behavior.
I would tend to agree, and I could understand you're thinking that way. You could argue it's motive. You could argue it's intent. The rule does require, similarities, which I think you have in this case. However, the judge has discretion on that.
Yeah.
There's another rule that the judge has got to weigh the probative value of the evidence. That's what it says. The rule says the judge must weigh the probative value versus the risk of unfair prejudice. And that's just something that's discretionary. I think that, when it comes to admitting prior crimes or prior bad acts, oftentimes judges can be leery about that because a lot of cases come back on appeal based on the admission of that evidence, and that's something we got to kind of think about. Again, using Murdaugh, this case has to be tried all over again.
And a reminder for complete coverage of the trial, download the free News 19 app by scanning the QR code on your screen. You can watch recaps and also, again, get the latest information from last night's verdict.